beautiful people, welcome back to my channel. Welcome if you're new here. Be sure to subscribe and turn your post notifications on so that you can be notified when next I post a video, because I do post videos on this channel every week. And if you've been here before, welcome back. Thank you so much for joining me along my journey. It's been a pleasure to have you. So as you can see by the title of today's video, I'm going to be talking about 16 days of activism against gender-based violence. "16 Days of Activism" is actually an international campaign that takes place each year on November 25th, which is the International Day of Elimination of Violence Against Women, and it ends on December 10th, which is the International Human Rights Day. So it's a 16-day international campaign that has been happening for years. It actually originated in 1991 by some activists, and it is continued to be coordinated by the Center for Women's Global Leadership each year. So usually this campaign calls for the prevention and elimination of gender-based violence against women and girls, basically indicating that gender-based violence is a pervasive breach of human rights, which is why it ends on December 10th, which is Human Rights Day, and which is why it's so important that we continue this conversation. So we origin in the world. The campaign usually has a theme for each year. This year's theme is actually fund, respond, prevent, and collect. So fund means just prioritizing funding for the essential services that help to prevent gender-based violence against women and girls, funding for first responders, funding for NGOs, making flexible funding available to women's rights organizations. Any organizations that stands for the prevention and elimination against gender-based violence should be funded. So fund, please, if you do have the monetary means to do so, if you can donate to these NGOs that stand against gender-based violence, please do so. Do your part by funding. Respond. So see something, say something, help save a life. How do you usually respond in a typical situation where gender-based violence is occurring? Do you see something and say nothing? Do you see something and you say something? Do you see something and you call the police? Do you see something, tell somebody else to say something, and maybe they do something about it? To respond, you can help save a life by responding. Responding means supporting victims and survivors of gender-based violence as well. So support victims, be a listening ear. That's also a response. Prevent. How do we prevent gender-based violence from occurring? By being proactive. I know a lot of Trinidadians tend to be very reactive persons, but how can we be proactive in the stand against gender-based violence? How can we do some introspection and self-reflection to change things within ourselves to put an end to gender-based violence? How can we help others realize these things within themselves to make that change? How can we create a safe space for victims and survivors of gender-based violence, or women in general, so that they don't become victims of gender-based violence? Create educational campaigns that helps spread awareness to prevent gender-based violence, and collect data that can be used for the improvement of services and programs for gender-based violence survivors and victims. You have to ensure that the information that's collected, it's accurate, it's relevant, and it's updated, so that we can really ensure that these programs and services are survivor-centered and ethical safety standards are implemented. So why is this 16 Days of Activism so important? Why has it been going on since 1991 and continues to happen each year? Since the start of the global COVID-19 pandemic, gender-based violence against women and girls, especially domestic violence, has escalated throughout the world. That is why it's important. It's always been important, and it will continue to be important as long as gender-based violence is still a thing. There has been an alarming increase in multiple forms of violence against women and girls, which could have been fueled by the household economic statuses of a lot of families, food insecurity, as well as the confined living conditions due to the COVID-19 pandemic. those are not excuses, but they are reasons why there might have been spikes in gender-based violence, in sexual exploitation, in harassment of women and girls, both online and offline, as well as child marriages, abuse, sexual abuse, and even femicides. In Trinidad and Tobago in particular, I know we have had a drastic increase in women going missing and then being found later dead, showing signs of rape and molestation, which is a really sad reality that we're living in, but it's a reality and we need to do something about it. I know the TTPS in Trinidad and Tobago in particular implemented the gender-based violence unit sometime earlier this year, which is a great initiative. I know they have the online reporting services, which is something that survivors and victims of gender-based violence can utilize. I know that in an interview that I looked at some months ago, the Commissioner of Police would have indicated that the officers for that particular unit are required to go through sensitivity training to help deal with gender-based violence victims and survivors in an appropriate manner, in a professional manner. So the training is specifically for that, which is really great. Statistics show that 1 in every 3 women experience gender-based violence in their lifetime at some point. If that isn't alarming enough to make you want to lend your voice to this campaign, to make you want to fund an organization to help prevent gender-based violence, to respond in some way or even collect data, then I don't know what will. And it's important to remember that we get boys and men involved in the conversation because they really need to be a part of the conversation in order to really help put an end to gender-based violence. This is my way of being a part of the campaign and lending my voice, and I hope you can do the same. So that's it for this video. I hope you found this information very useful and insightful. Like this video if you did. Comment down below and let me know how you plan to help with this campaign, how you plan to start a campaign of your own. Maybe you have some resources that you can share for other persons. Link some resources in the comment section. Also be sure to subscribe and turn your post notifications on because I do post videos on this channel every week, and share the good vibes with somebody else. Definitely don't keep this video to yourself. Please share it so you can spread the word to help put an end to gender-based violence. I just saying you're gonna see me in this hat for a couple of videos because my hair I need to go to the barber. I don't know why I procrastinating to book an appointment, but until then